I'm meteorologist Melissa Noor with the 11 Live Weather Impact Team, and we're issuing weather impact alerts for late Wednesday through Thursday morning for rain moving into North Georgia. And this rain is going to be the most widespread rain, and at times could be heavy, but the most widespread rain that we've seen since Helene. That was more than 5 weeks ago back in September. So we have had since Helene, we had one day we picked up kind of 2/100 of an inch of rain. Since then, a trace. That has been it. So what you need to know is that rain's moving in. At times the rain will be widespread. At times that rain could be heavy in parts of our area. So think ahead to your commute late Wednesday, Thursday morning, even Thursday lunchtime. Use caution. I also think that because of how much rain might be coming down in a short amount of time, we've got the leaves falling from the trees as well. That could also lead to a little bit of standing water on the roadways. Why are we seeing the rain moving in? Well, it's not going to be directly from the center of this system, but related in a way to Tropical Storm Raphael. This formed this afternoon. We were watching this storm system over the weekend, seeing if it would kind of get its act together, get us close low, and get up to tropical storm criteria. Well, it has done that today. So as of the 7 o'clock advisory, winds are 45 miles per hour still, moving northwest at 9 miles per hour. You can see in blue in Jamaica, that's a tropical storm warning. In red, the little Cayman Islands there, that's a hurricane warning. And then in pink, that's a hurricane watch for the western coast of Cuba. And also we've got tropical storm watches, which extend up into the lower Florida Keys as well. So this storm system itself, the center of it, where's the center of this thing going to go? Not going to move into North Georgia. OK, this is going to be steered northwestward through the Caribbean up to Cuba. And then beyond then, entering in the Gulf of Mexico. There's still some model disagreement with where it's ultimately going to go. But as it's making its way from Cuba, passing into the Gulf of Mexico, a lot of moisture is going to get funneled up into the southeast in advance of it. So here's the big picture forecast track. This is showing you, OK, there's Raphael right now. And we're going to watch it moving and passing from the Caribbean into the lower Gulf of Mexico. So you can see it as we get into Wednesday afternoon. There it is. But look in advance of this. There's this huge kind of train of moisture that's pushing up through the Gulf of Mexico, bringing some heavy rainfall into southern and central Georgia, and that rain eventually is going to get pulled into parts of North Georgia as well. So we feel that the bullseye with the rain might end up being just south of our area, but there's going to be enough of our area that picks up a good inch of rain or so to where, you know, that's significant after being dry for 40 so days in a row. Yeah, it's significant to get this kind of rainfall after that kind of dry stretch. So that's why we're issuing this weather impact alert. Now, you notice there's some large differences in these models, okay? Over on the left side of the screen, the American model, this is showing, of course, the bullseye over Augusta, but it brings kind of 2.5-inch rain totals in through Atlanta, Duluth, Peachtree City, close to 3 inches, 3 inches for Covington, and even some heavy rain in northwest Georgia, okay? So that's one side of the models. Now, the other side of things, this is the European, which I think is a little bit more reasonable, to be honest with you. It brings in a general 1/2 inch to 2 inches over the metro, and then it leaves that really heavy rain staying just east of us. So still some heavier rainfall totals in Greene County, Putnam County, where they could be 4 to 5 inches. But then you notice in northwest Georgia, there's kind of hardly anything. So we're watching this spread in the models, but what we can say is there's a signal. There's a signal that over central Georgia into southern Georgia, there's going to be some heavy rain, and parts of the metro area, parts of the Atlanta metro area are also going to be close enough in to get on that flooding potential. So this is the official outlook from the Weather Prediction Center, which is looking over the next 7 days, but really the lion's share of that rain is coming in Wednesday into Thursday and saying, okay, if we blend all these models together, what's kind of the most likely scenario as of right now? And you can see this purple color, which is kind of 1.5 to 2 inches right over the heart of the metro. That's Atlanta right there. But you notice how the colors turn more of that burgundy and red color as you get out into Rockdale, Newton, Henry counties and out towards Butts County as well. That's where those totals could be 3, 4, even plus inches of that. So that's all coming in within generally a kind of a 24-hour period. And we feel that with the leaves falling and everything and how dry things have been, there's motor oil that's been kind of greased up on the roadways with how dry it's been over the last month. So it'll become causing a few more slick conditions on the roads, and it's easy when we add water with these fallen leaves to cause more of an issue for being slick on the roadways as well. So rainfall bullseye there, likely going to be in central Georgia and up into the southeast side of the Atlanta metro, and that's why they've put out this slight risk of flooding as well for Wednesday. So this is one of those outlooks that we don't show often. We showed this during Helene. We were under a high risk of flooding with how much rain was coming in. Of course, in that scenario, we picked up over 11 inches of rain in a 2-day period. Well, this time around, we're looking at the highest rainfall totals south and east of Atlanta, and that's where they've issued this slight risk of excessive rainfall with the flooding. So why? Why are we seeing all this moisture coming in with Raphael, even though the center of the storm is not actually pulling here? Look at the spaghetti models. Really great agreement through Thursday morning, but then we have a pretty large spread in the models. You notice how there's kind of a cluster of them that brings it up into Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama area, and then a cluster of these models, kind of the European model especially, taking this due west. What's happening? What's happening? Let me show you. We've got a weather system over the central part of the country. You probably saw the weather headlines about the tornadoes in Oklahoma. Well, that weather system, it's a little cutoff low, a little dip in the jet stream, and that is going to help to steer that tropical moisture here. But does Raphael make it north quick enough to get picked up by that system and pulled northward or pushed and steered northward? Or is it slow enough and far enough west to where this trough is not going to pick it up and it's just going to keep going west in towards, say, South Texas? Okay, that's the difference in the rainfall that we were looking at. And I showed you that rainfall comparison. You see the rain comparison where the European I thought was a little more reasonable, but that takes it west. The American brings it right up through kind of the Mississippi River Valley, and that would mean higher rainfall totals there. So we still don't know how much rain we're going to see, okay? But what we're looking at is the signals that right now in our models today, it looks like it does favor some heavy rain, maybe some creek and stream flooding as well in central Georgia and parts of the southeastern metro. And that's why we've issued this weather impact alert. It's been pretty gray and gloomy the last couple of days in North Georgia as well. Yeah, we've had the wedge. That's when we get this east wind, which I'll draw here on the map for you, this kind of east wind, which sends cooler temperatures and lower humidity down the mountains. It gets nestled up against the mountains. But meanwhile, sometimes we get some overrunning moisture, and that gives us this scenario like we saw today with the cloud cover. We've got the breezy winds, some spotty showers, some patchy kind of drizzle and mist out there. We've had that for the day today, but by tomorrow, okay, we will start to see a wind direction shift, and that's going to scour out this cloud cover temporarily before it moves back in with our weather impact alert Wednesday and into Thursday. Let me show you a forecast track hour by hour. This is 10 o'clock tonight, showing you we still have some of those spotty showers around. The cloud cover is not going anywhere overnight. And in fact, I think some of the low cloud cover might really settle near the ground again tomorrow morning. So some fog, some mist, some drizzle to start off our election day tomorrow. Now, as we get into the midday hours, what's going to happen is those winds, which I showed you with those big lines coming out of the east, they're going to start to switch direction, okay? Right now, they're coming in out of the east-northeast, and by the afternoon tomorrow, we're going to get more of a southeasterly wind, and as long as we get that southerly component, it's going to scour out that wedge, that kind of nasty gray picture, and bring in some sunshine by Tuesday afternoon. So election day will start gray and gloomy. By the afternoon, some sunshine returns to North Georgia. But it is very short-lived. Here we go. Let's show you the moisture coming into play as we track Raphael into the Gulf of Mexico. You can see Tuesday night, we start to bring the clouds back in. And by Wednesday morning, some spotty showers will be out there. Now, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of rain around for Wednesday morning's commute. So trying to go back to work after maybe a late night watching election coverage on 11 Live Plus, you're going to be okay. We're going to have just a couple showers around. But as the day goes on, the rain will pick up in coverage, so becoming more widespread, especially south of I-20, and then we'll start to pick up the intensity of that rain as well. So this is the forecast track as we go into Wednesday at 4 o'clock, and you can see on this run of this model, at that point, still dry up in North Georgia with just some spotty drizzle, but south of I-20 into Atlanta, the rain's becoming more widespread and it's picking up in intensity as well. So that will be picking up as we go into Wednesday afternoon and evening. And then for the overnight, looks to say pretty widespread south of I-20. Do we get that widespread rain all the way up to the Tennessee state line? That's still to be determined. So this weather impact alert is especially covering the rain impact for Atlanta and points to the south. But to the north, we're not sure if that heavy widespread rain is going to make it that far. We get into Thursday midday, we start to see that rain tapering off. And then as we get into the rest of the week, we're not going to be dry altogether. We'll just see much lower rainfall coverage. So some spotty showers possible each day. Let me show you one more rainfall model. OK, this is that model I just showed you with is our high resolution forecast track. So that just updated a couple minutes ago, right before we came on the air. You see this bullseye it has? Okay, this is good news for us because it kind of shifts that bullseye of the rain across central Georgia rather than pulling it all the way up into Atlanta. But it certainly has a bullseye. I mean, you see all the yellow colors towards Macon and even the south side of the Augusta metro. Those are all rainfall totals over 5 inches. So, you know, right now we know there's going to be some really heavy rainfall. Is that going to end up just over Macon? Is it going to end up all the way up into McDonough and Henry County? Right now, we feel there's enough models showing it could make it up into the metro, and that's why we've gone with this weather impact alert. Let me show you the forecast for tomorrow, though. Election day, big day. If you didn't vote early and you're going to vote tomorrow, if that's what your plans are for tomorrow, we'll start with a 20% rain chance in the morning, some spotty nuisance drizzle, a little bit of fog. Some of that fog could be pretty dense, okay, could reduce the visibility, but that wind shift that I talked about is going to come into play by midday, and you see brighter skies for the afternoon, and that will help to warm us up more. So we were only in the low 60s today. Tomorrow we should make it up to the mid 70s. You see that rain chance tomorrow, 20%. By Wednesday, it's up to 60%. That's mainly late in the day. Now, Thursday as of now is 40%. Things have been looking a little wetter for Thursday. We might have to increase that rain chance. And then for Friday and Saturday, just a 20% rain chance there. So just to give you a recap of what we're expecting locally, and then I'll go back to Raphael again before we wrap things up. We are expecting our wettest time frame in North Georgia since Helene back in September. So we're expecting rain to move in south of I-20. That rain will be widespread. And you notice here, tomorrow it's not widespread. It's a 20% rain chance. But as we get into Wednesday late in the day through Thursday morning, that's when rain becomes a lot more prominent, widespread. At times it could be heavy. And we're watching out for that slight chance that there could be some ponding, standing water on the roadways, and even some nuisance flooding. Now, why are we going to see it? Kind of has to do with Tropical Storm Raphael. Raphael formed today. This was earlier Tropical Depression 18, and now this is a tropical storm. And as it heads through the rest of the Caribbean Sea, approaching Cuba, we expect that it will strengthen. In fact, this will likely become our 11th hurricane of the Atlantic season. 11th. Can you believe it? Hurricane season doesn't end until November 30th, so we still have a little bit to go, but we're kind of at the tail end to where we don't see as many systems in the month of November versus September and into October. So Raphael right now, 45 mile per hour maximum sustained winds, and I'll show you the cone of uncertainty from the National Hurricane Center. I'll back up this graphic if it'll let me play. There we go. So you can see our tropical storm warning for Jamaica and over into the Cayman Islands. We also have hurricane warnings. It's expected to become a hurricane by tomorrow night and then pass over Cuba as a Category 2 hurricane, enter the Gulf of Mexico, and you can see there in the Florida Straits we've got now in yellow, this is our tropical storm watch for the Keys. So for the Florida Keys, they have another tropical storm watch. Now, the steering currents of this take it westward into the Gulf of Mexico. As I showed you earlier, there's still a lot of model variance with what happens with Raphael as we get into the end of the week. Some models take it northward in towards Louisiana, Mississippi as a pretty weak system. Other models take it westward, closer to, say, Texas or something like that. But again, it looks like the ingredients may not come together for a major hurricane landfall in the United States this time around. So as of right now, what we're seeing in the models is it will encounter some wind shear, some less favorable conditions and not be a major hurricane as it's nearing landfall. With that being said, there can always be changes in the models. So I'll show you the spaghetti models as of right now. You can see good agreement between now and Thursday morning. But as we get into Thursday night and Friday, you see that wide spread in the models. That is, as I talked about earlier, is this going to get swept up into a trough of low pressure? That would send it in this direction. It kind of sweeps it up. Or is it going to take its sweet time getting there and then miss the trough and get steered westward in towards the Bay of Campeche, maybe southern Texas or Mexico or something like that? So still some discrepancies coming in there. But what you do need to know is tomorrow for Election Day, only a 20% rain chance. We'll hit highs in the mid-70s. And then for Wednesday and Thursday, we've issued this weather impact alert for rain that will be moving in. That rain, especially south of I-20, at times could be pretty widespread and at times could be heavy. And we'll get more information here as we go through the next 24 hours as this system is really getting going to see where that heaviest rain is going to be and what it means for your commutes and outdoor activities Wednesday and into Thursday. All right, I'm going to wrap things up there. I do get more information in before we go on for our news at 11. You can watch that on 11 Alive Plus and 11 Alive on the news. We will see you then.